אנחנו קמנו נסעידד, Adonai Hashem Melech Yanenu V'im Kareinu. Hashem is our King. He will answer us surely on the day that we call. Okay, we're looking at these sheets. Introduction to the Tanya in English by the Rabbi. Where is it? There it is. Second paragraph. The realization of this purpose. What is the purpose? According to the teachings of Hasidus, what is the purpose of a human being? Is he is a kingpin, like a fulcrum, the middle point, you know, in a teeter-totter, a seesaw, where you have this point here, and the plank goes like that. That's called the fulcrum. So there we are like the fulcrum. On one side you have holiness, the other side you have materialism. And we join the two of them together. So realizing this purpose entails a two-way relationship. One in the direction of from above, coming down to earth. That is to say, drawing holiness down into the world so that it becomes apparent. Because when you go take the subway to Manhattan, you don't see God. So you have to reveal this. Recently, they've done it in the most spectacular ways. Years ago, many years ago, we put on the cover of the Mashiach Times was a Hanukkah issue that all the lights of Hanukkah, all the lights of Midtown Manhattan, Times Square, were about Hanukkah and the coming of Mashiach. It was fantastic. It was spectacular. And then it became real, because life imitates art. Artistic people, sometimes they, they're in their thinking process, they're a step ahead what actually happens. Now it became a very regular thing. When the C-teens get together here, they take them to Manhattan. They have the big Malava Malka in Manhattan. The whole city stops. It's very, very exciting. For all those people participate in that. They don't forget it. It's once in a lifetime for them. So that's bringing godliness down and revealing it in this world. More to be said on that subject. And the other direction, that's bringing things from down from on high. That's a very important concept. Together, these are two important concepts in Hasidus. What are we actually doing? Are we trying to bring godliness down into the world, where it's not apparent, and make it apparent? Well, that's the idea of making a bracha. When you say the blessing on a cup of coffee or a soda, or a cup of tea, or a glass of water, you are really saying, thanking Hashem, who's bringing this coffee or tea or water or soda into existence, out of nothing, out of sheer nothingness. Bring into existence this second. And you reveal this by saying the blessing. Shahakol nihiya b'tvarei. That blessing that you say means that everything in the world is being brought into existence now by Hashem. And a corollary, that's to say, an offshoot to this idea is what we spoke about two classes ago, the idea of hashgacha pratis, divine providence. Then we said that divine providence is Hashem's way of hiding his identity. It's his alias. You know the joke about the person comes to court and the judge asks him his name, and his name is Murphy. He says, your name, Mr. I don't believe your name is Murphy. What was your name before it was Murphy? He says it was Schwartz. So he took an alias because he wanted to succeed in the world. So Hashem has an alias. It's called Hashgacha Pratis, but it's really the same guy. Hashgacha Pratis means Hashem. Hashem is running everything, and we call it coincidence. It's just a coincidence. Like in the play, comes a bizarre. How unusual, like quel coincidence. I was 18 years old when I saw that play, but I could never forget it. Two people meet on a train, and they find out that they're from the same city, and they live in the same area, and they live on the same block, and they live in the same house. In fact, they're husband and wife. This is like a refrain in the play. How unusual and what an extraordinary coincidence. Okay, that's one direction. Revealing the godliness that's not revealed, but it's really the inner essence of everything in the world. That's from above to below. And that we accomplish through doing mitzvahs. And the second thing is prayer. Prayer is when we try and elevate things from this world and bring them into the realm of holiness. So that it's a two-way street. We're bringing down godliness and revealing it in things, and we're elevating things that seem merely physical and showing that they really belong, like they say, under the wings of the Shekhinah. They're part of a holy picture. Okay. And the second direction is in the second line, second paragraph, from the earth upwards. So in fulfillment of the first, now the Rebbe is going to define this. That's a good paragraph. He has a lead sentence, and then we bring out the details. So the second sentence is the cloud, and the details are the prat. It's a pervasive principle, general rules and details. And to get secondary to the details are illustrations of the details. So it goes like 1, 2, 3, 3 step. That's how you construct an essay, a discussion. In fulfillment of the first, now comes the first detail. A person draws down holiness from the Torah, which is divine. That's holiness. The Torah is completely holiness. That's the hidden side of the Torah. And its commandments. To permeate therewith, in other words, every phase of his daily life. This is the goal. Sounds like a lot. Sounds extraordinary. Every detail, yeah, absolutely. This is what's required. This is what we're aiming for. And you might think, if a person doesn't know anything about Yiddishkeit, and you tell him this, say, whoa, that sounds terribly oppressive. Everything in your life has to be holy? So yeah, 100%. But look at it a different way. That's the most wonderful thing possible. And this is what the sages teach us in the Ethics of the Fathers, where there's a bracha there. One of the sages teaches us that it should be our goal, all your deeds should be for the sake of Hashem. In other words, you should be able to stop and say, I want to do this for the sake of Hashem. I want to reveal godliness in this detail, and the next detail, and the next. So then you go with God. I had a friend, he was a satirist, a great humorist. He was so good, he was written up, he was a Jewish guy, good-hearted Jewish guy. He was written up in the who's who for all over the world, and his cartoons were very popular even amongst the Arabs. They loved his work. And he used to sign, he's gone now, he passed away like 30 years ago. His name was David Berg. David Berg. And he used to sign his letters off, go with God, he's a friend of mine. He's a lovely person. And I don't know, were you ever exposed to Mad Magazine? Never read it? He used that. Mad Magazine was a satirical magazine. They used to make fun of movie stars and politicians and popular fads. That was their thing. They'd make fun of everything. And he was the lighter side. He was like living room humor. Funny things that people do. It was called the lighter side, and that's how it. He was a staunch member. First he was in the armed services. He worked for the army. He used this artwork for the army, and he was a staunch member of the B'nai B'rith chapter, wherever he lived. He started off living in Connecticut, a very Jewish area of Connecticut. He was not frum. He was staunchly Reformed, but he was very good-hearted. He was very good-hearted. He really cared about Jewish people. When terrorism sprung up, jihad began in the 1970s. So people were being encouraged, Arab youth were being encouraged to blow themselves up. Just as long as they would take a few Jews with them, that was it. They were promised the world to come. They would inherit every pleasure in the world. And what did that mean? That meant every woman that they could ever want, they could have. That was their idea of paradise. They're going to get 70 virgins if they blow up some Jewish people. And he used to make fun of this. He says, yeah, he says, but they don't tell them that the 70 virgins are all 70 years old. Okay, so that's the idea of bringing godliness down, revealing godliness. That's what the sages say. Behold, that kol maasecha yiyu l'shem shamayim. All your deeds should be for the sake of heaven. Now let's analyze that just quickly. There's two parts to this phrase. There's a teaching of the sages. This is from Mount Sinai. That all our deeds should be for the sake of heaven. That means that every single thing we do, we get up in the morning, the first thing we do, I don't know if you learned this in the dorms yet or not, but you put your hands together like this. This is not a Christian thing. This is Jewish. You put your hands together like this, and you say, Moda'ani, I give thanks to you, God, that you are returning my soul. You're giving me back my life.
I didn't know about the hands.
Like this, yeah. You wash your hands. First you wash your hands, and then you say this. Actually, you say that, yeah. You say this, I give thanks to you, God, even before you wash your hands. And the point of this, the simple meaning of this is, why do we do it this way? Because there's no mention of the name of God in that sentence. Because you don't want to mention the name of God because your hands still have the shade of death is upon the fingernails. Because when you die, when you sleep, you experience 1/60th part of opposite of life. And when you wake up, your soul Hashem gives you back your life, and that pushes anything that's not living out of you. But since your fingernails have very little life in them in the first place, it doesn't affect the fingernails. So we have to wash our hands to get rid of the shadow of death on the fingernails, and then throw the water out. We have to get rid of the water. The water is impure. Okay. And we say this prayer, the first prayer in the Siddur, I give thanks unto you, Hashem, King, Melech, Chai v'Kayam, living and enduring. Shechazarta bi nishmasi, you gave me back my neshama. Rabbi Emunasah, how great is your faithfulness? What's so great about his faithfulness? That I gave you my soul for you to take care of it. Like you loan somebody your cell phone, or you loan them your car, and you expect them to bring it back with no tickets. Happened to me once. I had to leave town. I left my car with a friend in the driveway. When I came back, he said, oh, by the way, I have to tell you that my nephew asked if he could borrow the car, and I let him use it. And he was stopped by a policeman. He got a summons. You're going to have to pay the summons. Well, that was really not nice. That was really not nice. So the law is that when someone loans you something, be very careful because you're 100% responsible. if someone says, can I leave this with you? And they make you a watchman of your stuff, it's the worst. Because you have to take care of it, and if anything happens to it, you have to pay. So I thought I was doing him a favor, and I ended up with all this trouble. So we say to Hashem, Hashem, you watch my soul, and your faithfulness is very, very great, because not only you gave it back to me in good condition, you gave it back to me in better condition. I was exhausted. I gave it to you tired and worn out, and you give it back to me fresh and full of energy. That's the meaning of that prayer. So that's how you start your day. And if you start your day that way, then that feeling hopefully will be with you everything you do. That you're going with Hashem, just like you're aware you're in the presence of it. You don't stay and lie in bed, because Hashem is standing right there. How can you stay? How can you just lie in bed? Well, Hashem is standing, the king is standing right in front of you. You can lie in bed. So you get up, you start your day, and that should stay with you. That Hashem stays with you through the whole day. And that should make you put you in a very, very good mood, should make you very happy. As long as you can keep thinking of that, you're going to be in a good mood, because you know that Hashem is with you every step of the way. Adul is the month of Elul, when the king is in the field and he's with us, and you want to speak to him, you can speak to him. Tell him, Hashem, tell him what you want. Tell him what you hope to achieve. He's listening and he's giving brachas. But we're going to analyze this. The sages taught us that our attitude should be that kol ma'asecha, all your deeds, should be for the sake of him. And that implies that you have your deeds, your life. It's your life. And you try and bring it to the point that it's in harmony with what Hashem wants. Like we say, make your will to be like his will. Like it's two different things. There's your will, that's what you want, and you try and make it like a gymnast, right? We saw the gymnastics recently. Make your will to be like his will. Just like a gymnast tries to learn all these moves and tricks and movements and something that they should be according to the end result that he or she wishes to achieve. So that's what we're trying to accomplish, that all our deeds should be like he would want them to be. Kol ma'asecha, all your deeds should be l'shem shamayim, for the sake of Hashem. But that implies that there's a separation, and we're trying to bridge the gap. That's a big department store, right? The gap. We want to bridge the gap. Whoever thought of that name was a genius. We're trying to bridge the gap. When I first saw it, the gap between teenagers and grown-ups. We're going to bridge the gap with cool stuff. However, there's more. That's only a first stage. There's a deeper stage than this, a much, much deeper stage than that. There's not your deeds and what you want and what he wants. There is only what he wants. You should know God in everything you do. Everything you do should be a godly thing. That you don't perceive the world, you perceive only God. That's a much deeper level of the same idea. So a normal approach of a normal human being like you and like myself is that I have my world, I try and make it to be in harmony with what Hashem wants. Make your will to be like his will. A much deeper idea is there is only his will. I perceive God in everything. Oh, Hashem wants me, like I often say to young people when I speak to them, or even to grown-ups, everybody wants to be on shlichus. That's the big thing in Chabad, is to be on shlichus, because a shlich of a person is connected to the one who sends him. You want to lead a good life? Connect yourself to the best person you know. Be like the best person you know. Do exactly what he would do. Well, the best person I know was Hashem. That's the best. Let me try to emulate his behavior, like it says in the Torah. He's merciful, I should be merciful. He's kind, I should be kind. He comforts the dead, I should go comfort a mourner. He comforts mourners, he buries the dead. the teaching of the sages that we should imitate in our ways. The Torah reveals to us many things that our great ancestors did. And the stories of the Torah are really full of instructions of what we should do in any circumstance. So we try and emulate that until it becomes second nature. We read in the memoirs of the families of the Rebbeim, memoirs of the previous Rebbe, by the age of 5 or 6, the Rebbeim had trained their body. They were trained. The body would not do something that was against the will of God. I remember there was a chassid he used to invite me to eat in his house when I was a bacher. And he said, why does it say about the sacrifice of Yitzchak? That Avraham went and he bound Yitzchak on, tied his hands and feet. He built an altar of stones. He put him on the altar. He put wood on the altar for the fire. He put him on top of the altar, on top of the wood. He took his knife to slaughter him. And an angel from heaven called out, Avram, stop! Don't do it. He said, what do you mean? Hashem told me to do it. He says, no, Hashem told you to bring him up, which usually means for an offering. So you brought him up. Test is over. You brought him up, now take him down. It says he sent out his arm or his hand to get the knife. It says the angels were weeping. They were in heaven. Whoa, no, don't do it. It says they were weeping, and some of the tears fell in Yitzchak's eyes. That's why he became blind. He was lying on the altar. In the last 60 years of his life, he was blind. It's a whole secret from the Rebbe. Why did Yitzchak have to be blind for 60 years? And the answer is because his son, Esau, was no good. And it was necessary for Yaakov to come to Yitzchak and get the blessings, because that's the future of the Jewish people and the future of the settling of the world. Yaakov had to get all the blessings, not Esau. Esau was a wilde chaya. He was a wild man, a murderer, a rapist, an idol worshiper. He was every bad thing you could want. All our enemies throughout the ages, most of them are descendants of Esau. The rivalry, the hatred between Esau and Yaakov continues to the present day. Hamas is Esau. And Yitzchak loved Esau. He adored him. He was his firstborn. Well, they were twins, but he was the first one to come out. But Yaakov had to get the brachas. So for Yaakov to get the brachas, Yitzchak had to be blind. Remember the story? Rivka said, you take this meat, your father wants to bless you. He thinks his life is going to end because he's almost the same age as your grandmother, Sarah. And so he's worried that maybe he's going to pass away at the same age. So he's ready to give you a blessing. He wants to give blessings before he goes. You have to go get the blessings. He says, I can't go. He's going to know it's me. He's going to curse me because I'm deceiving him. She said, on me be the curse. You go. I'm telling you, you have to go. Because she understood better what the reality was all. Yitzchak loved Esau. Esau's soul was from a very, very high level, but it fell down very, very low. It won't be, eventually when Mashiach comes, Mashiach will redeem his soul and bring his life back to its source in godliness, which is very, very, very high. But down here, he was a gangster. Mamash a gangster, a mafioso, worse. So she said, I have 2 goats every day. That's part of my deal in this marriage. I get 2 goats a day. That was money in those days. I get 2 goats. I'm going to prepare the goats the way your father likes it. It'll taste just like venison. and you take them in. He says, but he's going to feel me. My brother Esau, he told Esau to go bring him venison from the woods. He's going to feel that I'm not, he'll feel me. Esau, my brother, is a hairy person. He's full of his hair. He was hairy like an animal. And I'm a smooth person. She said, I'll take the skins of the goats and put them on your arms and on your neck, and he'll feel the hairiness, and he won't know that it's you. And Yaakov came in, and he said, who is that? And he says, it's me. Esau is your first son. Which you read the text means, it's me, Esau, your first son. Was he telling a lie? No, he told the truth. But it was disguised as a lie. In other words, to get the blessings away from Esau, he had to go with subterfuge. Where was I going with this? Oh, okay, forgive me. I digress. I told you so many stories, I forgot what was the main point. I'll come back to it.
Okay.
So in the first level, a person draws down holiness into the world. And when, like when we say Abraha, we reveal the godliness and everything. And the highest level is not that my deeds should be like the will of God, but that everything I do is what God would do if he was doing it. So first, man draws holiness from God, from the Torah and his commandments, to permeate every phase of his daily life. And in this way, everybody has a share in this world. In other words, there are certain things in this world that are waiting for you. That your function is going to be to elevate these things and to bring them under the wings of the Shekhinah. They are for you and they're not for anybody else. That's preordained. And they're waiting for you to come and to say the blessing and to do the mitzvah. And if you don't do it, you'll get another chance maybe next time around. So that's the first way. That is how a person claims his share in the world. It's waiting for him, and you take it with you. You don't take your money. You take with you these sparks of holiness that are in every physical thing, and that you have redeemed them. That is to say, by using them for a mitzvah, or by using the energy that you got from consuming the food or the drink, the sparks of life that are in them now become part of your inheritance from the world. In the second level, a person draws upon the resources at his disposal, that is to say, resources that are created by Hashem, resources that are created by mankind, and we use them to express godliness in our life. And this was a great innovation of the Rebbe, that from the 1950s even, it's when it really began. When the mentor of this institution here, Rabbi Hecht, started broadcasting on the radio and teaching Torah and teaching Hasidus on the radio. And that went on for many years until Rabbi Krinsky's son had the idea, why can't we do this on television? And that was revolutionary, because here the Rebbe was saying to everybody they shouldn't have a television. I remember seeing that there were certain people in certain houses, they would have a closet and they would keep a TV and a television in the closet so they could watch their favorite program. But generally, a Hasidic home does not have a television because it's full of schmutz, full of unsavory things. So the Rebbe, with Rabbi Krinsky's son, made the JEM, Jewish Educational Media, started teaching Hasidus for television, making videos. And people say, how can Lubavitcher Rebbe is on television? What does he expect? Well, the answer is, the Rebbe said quite clearly, we have to use everything at our disposal to publicize godliness in the world. So the people should go in the street and see godliness. So that's elevating the world. So one, we draw godliness down into the physical things we have. And the second thing is to use every physical thing to speak about God. To cry out like it says, in the future, the bricks and wood from the walls of your house are going to speak and testify about you, about the mitzvahs that you did while you were here. Okay, let's finish up this paragraph. In other words, to reveal godliness in the surrounding world. One of these basic resources, he says, is human language and communication. And so that's how this introduction is going to go, about the idea that this is the first time that Hasidus is being translated into English. That's why there's the introduction to the English translation of the Tanya, and that's what the rest of this preface is about. Tomorrow we'll start learning Tanya inside.
Thank you.
Achrena and the Siddur. Did you look at the sky this morning? A beautiful morning.
Yes, I did.
You did. Good for you.
Huh?
Very good. I'm proud of you.
It was very nice after the stress of getting ready and rushing, just to look up and
Okay, good. So one thing. So we moved up, and the Vargas doesn't come on Wednesdays. That just leaves you and me.
what about Shuli?
Shuli didn't come.
Oh, I don't remember Shuli.
Thank you very much for coming. We'll see you tomorrow. And if we have a chavrusa, that will be good too. You'll be my chavrusa.
Amazing, thank you.